Welcome to my series on Bill Cooper's Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. This is part 4, the economic model. This future-proof path? Let's begin and find out. This doctrine is the first chapter in his book, Behold the Pale Horse, and it was published in 1991. The economic model. The Harvard Economic Research Project, 1948, was an extension of World War II operations research. Its purpose was to discover the science of controlling an economy. At first, the American economy, and then the world economy. It was felt that with sufficient mathematical foundation and data, it would be nearly as easy to predict and control the trend of an economy as to predict and control the trajectory of a projectile. Such has proven to be the case. Moreover, the economy has been transformed into a guided missile on target. The immediate aim of the Harvard project was to discover the economic structure. What forces change that structure, how the behavior of the structure can be predicted, and how it can be manipulated. What was needed was a well-organized knowledge of the mathematical structures and interrelationships of investment, production, distribution, and consumption. To make a short story of it all, it was discovered that an economy obeyed the same laws as electricity, and that all of the mathematical theory and practical and computer know-how developed for the electronic field could be directly applied in the study of economics. This discovery was not openly declared, and its more subtle implications were and are kept a closely guarded secret. For example, that in an economic model, human life is measured in dollars, and that the electric spark generated when opening a switch connected to an active inductor is mathematically analogous to the initiation of a war. The greatest hurdle which theoretical economists faced was the accurate description of the household as an industry. This is a challenge because consumer purchases are a matter of choice, which in turn is influenced by income, price, and other economic factors. This hurdle was cleared in an indirect and a statistically approximate way by an application of shock testing to determine the current characteristics called current technical coefficients of a household industry. Finally, because problems in theoretical economics can be translated very easily into problems in theoretical electronics, and the solution translated back again, it follows that only a book of language translation and concept definition needed to be written for economics. The remainder could be gotten from standard works on mathematics and electronics. This makes the publication of books on advanced economics unnecessary and greatly simplifies project security. Industrial diagrams. An ideal industry is defined as a device which receives value from other industries in several forms and converts it into one specific product for sales and distribution to other industries. It has several inputs and one output. What the public normally thinks of as one industry is really an industrial complex, where several industries under one roof produce one or more products. 3 industrial classes. Industries fall into the 3 categories or classes by type of output. Class 1 capital, Class 2 goods, Class 3 services. Class 1 industries exist at 3 levels. 1 is nature, 2nd is government. The 3rd is banking. Class 2 industries exist as producers of tangible or consumer products. This sort of activity is usually recognized and labeled by the public as a quote-unquote industry. Class 3 industries are those which have service rather than a tangible product as their output. These industries are called 1 households and 2 governments. Their output is human activity of a mechanical sort, and their basis is population. Aggregation. The whole economic system can be represented by a 3-industry model if one allows the names of the outputs to be 1 capital, 2 goods, and 3 services. The problem with this representation is that it would not show the influence of, say, the textile industry on the ferrous metal industry. This is because both the textile industry and the metal industry would be contained within a single classification called the goods industry. And by this process of combining or aggregating these 2 industries under one system block, they would lose their economic individuality. The E model. A national economy consists of simultaneous flows of production, distribution, consumption, and investment. If all of these elements, including labor and human functions, are assigned a numerical value in like units of measure, say 1939 dollars, then this flow can be further represented by a current flow in an electronic circuit, and its behavior can be predicted and manipulated with useful precision. The 3 ideal passive energy components of electronics, the capacitor, the resistor, and the inductor, correspond to the 3 ideal passive energy components of economics called the pure industries of capital, goods, and services, respectively. Economic capitance represents the storage of capital in one form or another. Economic conductance represents the level of conductance of materials for the production of goods, and economic inductance represents the inertia of economic value in motion. This is a population phenomenon known as services. Economic inductance. An electrical inductor, or a coil of wire, has an electric current as its primary phenomenon and a magnetic field as its secondary phenomenon, or inertia. Corresponding to this, an economic inductor has a flow of economic value as its primary phenomenon and a population field as its secondary phenomenon of inertia. When the flow of economic value, i.e. money, diminishes, the human population field collapses in order to keep the economic value, or money, flowing, or extreme case, war. This public inertia is a result of consumer buying habits, expected standard of living, etc., etc., and is generally a phenomenon of self-preservation. Inductive factors to consider: 1. Population. 2. Magnitude of the economic activities of the government. 3. The method of financing these government activities. See the Peter Paul principle, or the inflation of currency. Wow, this is a lot of information. Mr. Cooper is very detailed in his information. So I am definitely planning on doing a summary of all of this in layman's terms, which makes it a little bit easier to comprehend. But basically, the elite view us as an economic model, and it is not based on anything factual. It is based on manipulation. They see us as cattle. They see us as a dollar figure. And this silent war that we're seeing right now, that is what's going on. And it is through our technology. It is through the computers, your cell phones. All of this was deliberately introduced to us in order to enslave us in this web or this economic model. And it goes back a long way. This has been an agenda that has been laid out documentary-wise since 1954, but I would beg to differ, it goes back even further. I hope that you will stay tuned to my next video, which is video 5. It is a continuation of the economic model.